for good reason. You saw the fire. I mean, this wasn't a fire that, hit a couple of units and they were able to knock it down. I mean, it was the entire building, and it was burning ferociously. And the whole area has been blackened. And you just think through the painstaking process that lies ahead now as you've had this, two-story building pancake onto itself and compact down onto the ground like that, much of it in ashes. And if indeed they have people who are missing by the end of this day, just imagine the painstaking process of trying to identify any potential remains there, or was that person not even here when this happened? I mean, this is going to be an extraordinarily long process.
And that process will take time indeed. Here we are, almost 3 hours exactly. This happened at 12:47. Almost 3 hours after that first 911 call went out, that there was a gas explosion and fire here at 409 East 9th Street in North Oak Cliff, very close to the Bishop Arts District, right down the street from Adamson High School. By the time that call went out, firefighters showed up on the scene from Dallas Fire Rescue within 2 minutes. There's a fire station very close there to this scene, but it was burning ferociously, as you said, happening just south of the Dallas skyline. That's why people could see it in every direction. And that's the concern now. They did have some success getting it knocked out early. At least 4 people went to the hospital, we understand. We don't know whether they were from an adjacent building or from the actual scene itself. But when the DFR assistant chief said that there are some unknown number of fatalities, that's where you just get a pit in your stomach, because it's sad to think. There's 23 units here. There likely were going to be people who were home in the middle of the day. Summer had just started, and that's where the scene begins. You can see there how much it was burning early on here. This was not long after we got the call too. Our helicopter raced out there. On the right-hand side, you can see that single-family home has debris all over it. Firefighters trying to throw some water on it as well too. But there were likely going to be injuries, if not significant property damage on properties all around where this happened. And once again, we haven't seen it in a few minutes, but there's that construction truck in the front, the white cab on fire. You can barely make it out now. And that yellow tower up in the air, that's a drilling truck. It may have an exact technical name that I don't know, but I've seen them all over the place. And that truck right in front of the worst damage tells me that is exactly where investigators are going to start their investigation.
Yeah, the building's just gone right there next to where the truck was.
Yep.
I mean, the rest of it, you can see a facade a little bit further down when it was fully engulfed. But that part of the building where that truck was sitting was just completely cratered out, gone. And boy, when you see that fire, and you consider that firefighters say that this response time was 2 minutes. 2 minutes from the blast to them actually arriving on scene, and the fire moved that fast. And you start putting pieces together again, and you hear from eyewitnesses who say they smelled gas in the air out there for a while before this blast went off. And so, you go, my goodness, how did that building go up that quickly? Well, if you've got gas that is all around like that, and especially if it has gotten into the apartment building or is all around it, boy, that is just a terrible situation for everybody involved.
Hopefully for those moments that people smelled gas, they were able to get out of the actual structure. We don't know about the construction workers who were actually operating that truck you see there at the top of your screen. Right, what's left of it, if you can tell, is right next to that red pickup, just this side of that red pickup truck at the top of your screen there. But even after firefighters were able to knock down a lot of these flames, you could still see beneath that drilling tower there, you could still see something feeding flames from underneath that. And that's what firefighters were doing. Now, here's what we've been kind of waiting to see how this was going to play out. Dallas Fire Rescue working to pull down some of this back part of this building here. I'm not sure if that's an apartment or if that's actually a utility building, but they're trying to make it safe from the outside, at least, to get in there. And number one, knock out any flames they see. They call them hot spots, knock out hot spots. But then after that, once they extinguish those flames, then comes that work to make sure that there were no victims inside, no residents inside. Kevin, you're seeing obviously more activity there. You and John Gibson are. Tell us what you're seeing that we can't see from this vantage point.
Sorry, I'm going to step across in front of the camera. Yeah, we're at an apartment complex just right next door actually across the alley on the north side. You can see some of the work right now. We've been watching. There's a small hot spot that is starting up in the middle of the building. So the fire crews got up and are starting to do what they can to make sure that they keep knock that down before it gets any worse. But other than that, the firefighters have been waiting as if they need to wait for this to be completely out before any type of searching is underway. But we have been talking to a number of residents from this apartment complex, some who were home at the time. We don't know about the potential human toll. We do know that there are a number of pets still missing. We know that 5 have been rescued in terms of pets and things like that. But neighbors are here with us watching this as well. But the activity that you're watching right now started in just the last few minutes. Firefighters moving in to knock out these small hot spots. But we have not heard any official word on when they're going to start going through this building piece by piece to find out if indeed there are any victims inside. That has not yet been completely confirmed. But this will be our vantage point until we are told it is no longer our vantage point, and we'll keep eyes on this and let you know what we can find out.
Yeah, Kevin, that's great work and great vantage point there as we can see this really moving into phase 2. There were flames. We did see the hot spot there, the flames rising up out of what we can see from the building. Black smoke again. We had hoped not to see any more black smoke, which, they have to at least extinguish the fire first before they can get in and conduct their primary search. They started that in the front of the building where the construction truck is, but the front of the building, there's nothing left of it. It was decimated by the explosion. The back of the building, which is where Kevin is, which is what we're seeing from both the helicopter on the left side of your screen and from Kevin's vantage point on the right side of your screen from the ground. This is where they're trying to pull down the wall, pull it away so firefighters can attack it with their hoses and at least extinguish the flame before those primary searches begin. We understand there are at least 140 or so firefighters here, which is a significant response, and it's been quite a while since that I can recollect a 5-alarm fire the Dallas Fire Rescue had to respond to. They have heavy rescue companies out here. They have a number of, they have 3 engines at least, a number of ambulances out here, obviously waiting as well too. A number of different vehicles out here, not just for the initial fire, but also for what comes next. Cole Sullivan is not too far from where Kevin is with a different vantage point. Cole?
What comes next for families here is trying to figure out what they're going to do next. I'm here at the Family Reunification Center where we've seen neighbors coming, trying to find the latest about their pets who were inside the building where this happened, trying to make sure that they connect with all of their neighbors and family members who may have been inside. I'm going to step out of the way so you can see what we're seeing here. You talk about the fire response. You can see this ladder truck here that we had seen intermittently over the last few minutes spraying some water. It's kind of died down now as firefighters work to address what they have to do to make this scene safe to go in, to do any search and rescue that they have to do here. We're not far from the command post, and in the last hour we heard from city leaders here in Dallas at that command post. They've now gone inside Adamson High School here to continue to monitor this situation. We heard the update from them from DFR that they were here within 2 minutes. That response has only continued to grow. I could tell you that usually a couple hours after a scene, in my experience, you start to see police cars go away, you start to see ambulances and fire trucks go away, go back into service to respond to other calls that they may have to respond to. Not here. We've seen them all stick around as this scene continues to grow and continues to develop as they're waiting to figure out what comes next here. When we were on our way here, I mentioned this earlier, we could see ash falling from the sky from a mile away, and folks who lived blocks away could feel the explosion when it happened. That's why so many suspected immediately that it was a gas explosion here. One neighbor who lives next door to where this happened said that he was playing his PS5, school's out for the summer here in Dallas, and he thought it was an earthquake that happened here. We've heard stories of windows shattered from next door neighbors in this area. So it's not just the 23 units in this building, but also neighbors from all around who can't make it back to their homes. In so many circumstances like this, we see organizations step in to help. We've seen the American Red Cross here.